Hello. So I'm starting to see many of you are starting to become more and more conscious, more aware of dark forces that exist here, anywhere from reptilians, demonic entities, draconians, vampires, you name it. You can label it how you do, how you see fit with your research, but they exist, they have existed, and they continue to exist. What's happening from my perspective, and I feel led to speak in this way, what's happening is that many of us are becoming more and more conscious and aware. And because of that, amongst other things that are happening astrologically, whatnot, we are shifting consciousness, conscious form. And collectively, whether individually one is not that conscious or not, we're still impacted collectively. Just like if the sun hits us, and if there was something going on with the sun and there were more radioactive activities happening with the solar flares, whether you're inside your house or not and you protect yourself, you still get impacted in the same way as that when the collective becomes more conscious and aware, we all somehow get impacted. You know, we subconsciously make the choice to kind of stay within our reality, but they become choices, and that becomes maybe the karmic experience for that person. But that's not the intention of this message. The intention is entities, dark entities, bloodsuckers, chi vampires. They've been around for eons, and I've been aware of them since I was a little boy. Since I was about 7, I was having conversations with them, not because I was on the dark side, but because I was highly aware. And I mentioned this because as more people are becoming more conscious and aware, they're starting to see these forces. The eyes blacken, depends, right? It depends on that DNA or the possession or the entity that's working or shape-shifting, you name it, right? Anything seems to be possible in this world. And each experience is designed, of that person, is designed to be an experience for that. If you notice that people who have testimonies online, whatnot, like through social media, when they start speaking about these forces that they see and whatnot, it almost seems like they're the only ones seeing and nobody else is. Why is that? It's because these experiences are part of your awakening. They've always been here. They've always been around. But as you start to become more conscious in your awakening process, you start to change your frequencies of how you emit so that you can see the truth and how people are walking as they walk masked. They can no longer veil themselves. So now you're starting to see their truths. But there's another aspect, again, from my experiences, and this is perspective. You know, I don't speak in the realm of truth. I say that all the time. I'm speaking perspective. And what I'm saying is maybe for someone, if they happen to resonate with it, my intention is not to resonate with every single one, because everyone has their own blueprint and how they work in this world. And it's beautiful. We're all beautiful. So we have different scopes, different perspectives. In a perfect world, I would like to see us all being able to speak our own belief system, and others just acknowledge and say, that's your truth. Beautiful. Let's, cheers and carry on, but we're still looking to work within the, judgment. We haven't transcended judgment as a human collective. And I'm not talking religious. I think it's being a human being is that we still tend to judge others for many, many reasons. You name it. Because we are still judging ourselves, and as aware as we are individually and in our process, the least aware you are, the more you tend to judge others. Yeah, and the more you become aware that you judge others, as an example, the more it seems like judgmental situations seem to come at you. It's because now you're becoming more aware, and you haven't healed yet. If you haven't healed yet, now it's starting to become more conscious to you. Same thing with entities. Now you're becoming more aware, per se, with these dark entities that are just as shocked as you are when you see them. They see you the same, just like me and you're looking at each other right now. If we were just speaking, we would just see each other. I noticed that you notice me, and this is like, wow, most people don't just pay attention to me just like that in the streets, right? And same thing with these entities, the same thing. You are both noticing each other. Why? Think. Think. Critically think. Because you and them are vibrating at the same frequency. We come here and we have a spectrum anywhere from infrared all the way up to white light, infinite spectrum of colors. They call us the 7 colors of the rainbow, they say, in our existence. That's why the number 7 or the 7 chakra system, you name it, so many schools of thoughts. We come and we are like receivers to frequency as a way of communicating with others within ourselves, our higher selves, our intuition, our instincts per se. And as you're becoming more aware of your dark and your light side as in frequency, then you become more aware in the dark and the light of others. Because if you had no clue of demonic entities and you had this like innocence, you'd just be scared, and then you would need somebody else to teach you, like that of a child, right? Once you become more knowledgeable, once you become more aware, once you can associate through patterns of association, through maybe seeing the darkening of the eyes, or seeing the auric field changing, or you see the person's intent, or maybe their morphology, maybe you see something in their face morphing, right? Or for other people who are more connected, they actually see the shape shifting, right? It's because now, once you see it, and you can identify it with more knowledge, now you can create a sense of a pattern differentiation. And this is where judgment comes to play. It's because once you judge yourself or you judge that, you lose the lesson. Now you work out of fear, and then now you're here putting out the energy field, frequency, of having to share with everyone and to be careful and follow God and follow Jesus and do all of these things. I'm not speaking negative on that, but we have a choice. I'm speaking to those who see or are discovering sight. Once they freak out, once they start to see something that just broke their reality, that was part of your awakening. But instead, what I'm seeing is people coming up and just warning the world. Warning the world from what? Again, I've been speaking to them and protecting myself and or my family since I was 7. And I'm here now. I'm here now, maybe as a testimony, maybe as a storyteller. You call it, you get to decide. But I'm not speaking here. I'm speaking here. So if you resonate with me here, believe me, don't believe me, I'm a crazy person, I'm an awesome person, I don't know. You can pick up all these categories. That's like the left thinking brain. I can't do that. I've been doing that for a long time. I'm not there with those people. So, put that aside. I'm talking about here, right here. If I resonate with you and you are listening to this video, obviously there's something that you're getting out of it. It's that simple. Otherwise you'd be changing the channel, or you'd be putting this horrible comment and just pleasing your ego, or making you feel like you're doing something really productive and putting me in my place or something like that. Enjoy the show if you want to do that. I don't really put, So if you see or have seen an entity, if you've seen somebody's eyes blacken, if you've seen someone shapeshift, or if you've seen anything or anyone, in that case, you're going to start to probably see more of it, or you're going to connect with others that have seen that. But you have a choice, again, as I said before. What is that choice? I mean, it could be more complex, but I'm going to make it simple so I can get my message across. But the choice is this simple. Either you spread fear or you spread love. Is that fair to at least use this as an analysis, so I can get at least return my message and forward it onward? And then you can morph it and work with it, and work with it the way you see fit, if, again, I resonate with you. Let's say I just saw something really dark, right? And I don't have my past experiences, me growing up with my experiences. I would be just like anyone else, saying, be careful, it's getting scary, we're under attack. Again, the less that you know, the more you're going to want to help people with trying to protect them. That's natural, there's nothing wrong with that. But what you're not understanding right now, and that we're in a new age, is that it's important that while you're working in that frequency, now if you are, and you're listening to this message and you're curious, I'm tapping into those who are curious. I'm not trying to change believers, man. Because if you're here, one side is not better than the other. But if you're here and you're working with your instincts, which is your lower chakra, which is a very vital, necessary thing, as part of our evolution. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're there, with your curiosity, see other perspectives from someone else. Maybe there might be something that might strengthen that. You know what I mean? And maybe for those that feel like they're needing to be able to educate people more expanded, then maybe there's a message in here for that as well. You've seen something and you go out and you tell everybody just to be careful, pray, and do all these things. You just dismissed the message. You just dismissed your ability to see. And there was a door. as there will be a door again later on, is because you're starting to see frequencies of those who are working with their truth. And this is where we transcend judgment. Who are you or who am I to judge that person that maybe you might see something very dark, or reptilian per se, draconian, a vampire, you know? Who's to say that they're not working in their evolution? It's like going to a prison and judging everybody for being in jail, and not wanting to volunteer services and helping and getting to know them. What makes you think that because you've not seen other entities that they're not working, just because you've only seen and communicated with humans, that there are not other entities, beings, or life forces that are looking to evolve? And those are also beings that are not. But I'm speaking about what if. See, when you speak and you want to see and you're curious to make that decision based on a reality that you form when you see something dark, because you're curious, you're afraid, you're freaked out, but you want to understand something as to why did I see it and nobody else did. It's because you're honing in on expanding your walk. And once you transcend judgment, even entities, then you can receive the message that you were meant to. And I can't tell you the message because it's individual. But what I can share is that quite possibly you can at least become aware that the only way you could see is because you were capable, somehow, some way able to vibrate at that frequency where you saw a dark force. Just like you meet people all the time that can vibrate at a frequency of seeing angels or light forces or dreaming beautiful things. So you're developing your inward way of seeing with things that have already existed because we're becoming more conscious. But there are steps to this. There are steps of being able to integrate even deeper with your own sense of knowing by being curious enough, so that you can actually understand when you see a dark forces. I'm not telling you to go out there and shake their hand, because it happens so fast. It's like you saw a fight in the bar, you left the fight and you had nothing to do with it and you left, and now you're going back and you're trying to understand something with that. What was the message? Maybe the message won't be clear after what I'm saying or after you start asking, but by asking yourself in your own time, after you see something such as an entity, and this is the purpose of this message, is that what was the message for me? But you're not doing that. A lot of people are just saying, warding it off and showing your power. You're feeding it. From my experiences, when you display fear, when you display powerful protection and something that was running away just like you, maybe a scared cat, maybe that entity was curious just like you, and just like you wanted to follow it, maybe it's following you the same. What is that? Disclaimer, protect yourself. Don't just go out there like that and look for things, because that's not the intention of my message. Is that while you're minding your own and you're working towards and you're setting your intentions and you're actually working in spirit in your own way, and you come across that way, protect yourself. See it for what it is. Know that you're protected. Feel your fear. See the darkness. And when you get a chance, if not in the moment, you can actually see that there was probably a message for you, to you, that you're that powerful, that you have the abilities now to start seeing beyond the normal human sensory system. But we can't even get into that at more metaphysical conversation and go through those steps if we can't get past the initial fears, working through those fears, the shock, which is normal, of being startled because maybe it's your first time seeing or experiencing that. But I think this message is important because many of us are starting to see, and a lot of us aren't even doing the work, and we're just seeing because there are people who collectively are doing the work, who's raising the vibration, which means that even those that are not doing the work are going to be living in a more expanded spectrum of senses, and that is not limited to seeing, feeling, sensing vibrations, excuse me. That's why you're starting to see, maybe if you meditate and it's your first time, you're able to tap in a lot quicker. For those who are closer to my age or older, I'm in my 40s. I've seen people who had a really hard time to meditate, like most people did. It's because times were dense. People were that shut down. They were religiously conditioned. And either you were religious or not. There was nothing in between, which is what I'm saying. There was just black and white. Everything was just pure black and white. Now you're starting to see a spectrum between that. Don't go searching out for them, but they've been there for a long time. And there's a possibility that they might be there to suck your blood, seriously, but they might be there just because they were walking down the street just like you were. And once you raise your light and your vibration, they can't see you. They cannot see you. Or if they do see you, it's because they're looking to change. And that is part of my practice as well. There's people come to me very dark in my practice as an acupuncturist and whatnot. And I don't know that they're coming. And they come and I see them, I smell them, I know them. Just like I meet people who are angelic, same. And it took me a long time to understand that. So this didn't come overnight. It's just because I'm in the field that I'm in, I'm able to exercise this and work and cultivate this. So it took me a long while. So this is not like 1 + 1. I mean, it's 1 + 1, but it took me a long time to arrive to that simple formula. A lot of them left as quickly as they came. The message was delivered though. I mean, one treatment and they were gone is because I knew that they weren't going to change. And I knew they came with tormented. And the message for them was that they needed to be seen. And with no judgment, just for a second. Because they were still embodying a human form. And that was practice for me. It was practice of not judging others or myself, right? And also fears and other things, right? And I expanded my practice. But then there's those who are actually really dark. And can't believe that one person is seeing them. Right through them. Just as they've been born, just like a lot of mothers and females can see someone and see the baby that they were before they became that. Or that the elder they'll become. When you see them, if you can envision them 80, 90 years old, where they just start becoming that. So when you transcend judgment, you are able to, activate and potentiate more of your seeing of their past, meaning their childhood self, and their future self in the moment, even though they're not either or. But once you see that spectrum, then the communication between you and your guides and the purpose of that interaction does not activate and potentiate altercation or attack. You get to choose how it's going to be. You train for the attack, but once you receive it, you expand your training because you have that much confidence that if the attack actually happened, you've trained that way. But in the same way, if it didn't happen, it's chess. It's like being a physician of being human. Just being a person. And maybe perhaps many of you are attracting more of who you are as far as the fears and the dark energies, because if they're attracted to you and you are to them, a lot of the times it's because you are working in that realm so that you can see that realm, so that you can ascend and descend, because you cannot ascend and not descend, because then you're not going to understand how you were born here. And that's like another conversation for a lot of people, but they're not even ready to hear that. They don't want to hear it. It's just going to break a lot of their belief systems. So hopefully this message meant something to someone out there.